How would it feel to have a thriving fitness business and have the freedom to enjoy life at the fullest? Well, that is exactly what the Trainer Revenue Multiplier Show is going to give you. My name is Mathew Park. This is Jaime Filer.
Hey guys.
And we are here to serve. Guys, welcome to the TRM Show. My name is Mathew Park. I am the co-host for the show today, guys, and I have a special guest from a small community town who's built an empire of a gym over in liberal Kansas City. A guy who has got a great beard, a great haircut, always has the best looking office ever. Jonathan Eikenberry. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. Good to have you on the show today.
Thanks. Glad to be on the show.
So you've been in this, gym world, gym game for quite a few years. Is that correct?
Yep. Started off, just as a competitor and coming to the gym, which later evolved to being a trainer at the gym, which evolved, I got busy enough in that where I decided to quit my full-time job of guaranteed money and go out there and take a risk, which it ended up paying off well. Shortly after that, my friends who owned the gym at the time were looking to get out of the area. And so they had me start managing it for them for a year as we worked on getting everything in place for me to take over and buy it from them.
And that was what year, John?
I bought it the beginning of 2020, right before COVID hit.
Interesting. So basically 2.5 years, 3 years.
Yep. I signed all the paperwork February 13th of 2020.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
And then within my first month, they were trying to shut me down.
Whoa. This is going to be an awesome combo. So basically you bought a gym.
Yep.
How many members did it have when you first bought it?
I think at that point we were fluctuating between maybe 800 and 900.
Okay. Got it. COVID hits.
Yep.
Membership probably goes right down.
Oh yeah. It drastically came down. And, we being in a smaller town, that wasn't enforced near as hard as it was like for some of the gyms in the larger cities, which we ended up getting shut down for maybe a week or so. Okay. And, during that process, I just constantly called out. I was reaching to the senators and other people. And I actually went up to the Capitol and spoke in front of everybody at the Senate House Committee or some deal, which that one was really nerve-wracking, having to get up there and talk in front of everybody. But
wow. Okay. So you dropped about how many members after COVID kind of hit for you, John?
Man, we a lot of our corporate accounts, which are larger accounts, we had froze all of those, and then we had a mass freeze for all of our regular accounts. But leading up to it, a lot of people were worried or whatever, so they were coming in canceling anyways. So we got that mass freeze done, and I bet that cut us down, man, at least by 50%.
Wow, that's a lot of people, John.
Yeah. That's
like down to like 400 people.
Yeah. Yep. 400 some people. And then, it slowly started building back up, and, it took time because, when the gym opened in the beginning of 2016, each year it grew. And 2019 was the best year yet. And then 2020 hits and it just sweeps it right out from under us.
So curious, 2020 or 2019 membership wise, what was numbers back then?
I believe that one was, around that 8.5, 900 ish mark, maybe 950, somewhere within that category.
And your town is how big population?
About 20,000.
20,000?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is not very big at all. Okay, very impressive.
Oh, we don't have a target.
That's true. But there are more gyms there, correct?
Yes, there's 2 other gyms, and there are 2 other, regular gyms, and then there's a CrossFit facility.
So almost like one competitor, kind of, but not really the one CrossFit gym.
2 competitors. The other gym has been here. It's been here forever. 20, 30 years probably. And then the other gym opened up maybe in 2021.
Okay. Okay.
So
Got it.
Just as we're trying to build steam back up, then he goes and opens. But we really didn't see a huge cut from us with him opening. We still continued to grow. So
So here's a story for those listening, guys. Kind of cool story. So the gym opened 2016, kind of a brand new gym. They built up over the years at 219, maybe 800 members somewhere at their peak, kind of maybe 900 members kind of max, right?
Yep.
You buy the gym in 220 at around that membership standpoint, right?
Yep.
And then COVID hits a month later, and membership goes down from about 850, cut in half to about 450, 400, somewhere in there, basically, for the months to follow for COVID. So now you're stuck as a new gym owner, right? Buying a brand new gym, all your investment capital, right? And you lose half of your members, which that's in a town of that size, it's not a very big town. To now building it, Jon, where of course you've been a success story in our TRM group for a year and a half now. Of like you're hitting close to over almost 1,100 members now.
I looked yesterday and we was at 1163.
It's almost 1,200.
Yep.
Okay, that's very impressive. So a huge bounce back.
Yep.
Right. So when you bought the gym, were there trainers in the gym?
We had a couple trainers. It was a completely different setup. It was, the trainers paid a monthly gym rent of like $50 to $70, and they just kind of had as many clients as they wanted. And it was just kind of a casual come as you go type thing. And, once we started back in January of 2021, or was it 2022? 2022, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. That was
so, with the help of TRM, we went in there, we restructured everything, laid some of the groundwork, and we just continued to build, and built it into where we are today.
That's amazing, because your business obviously is a mid-six-figure business, but more importantly, what I think is most impressive, is the population capacity of that town compared to having over 1,000, basically 1,200 members, and having a team of trainers.
Yeah.
I think you've got 3 or 4, or no, 2, or what do you got for coaches?
We counting myself, we're at 5.
Wow. Okay. So I'm 5 coaches.
Yeah.
Awesome. But you don't coach very much anymore, do you?
No, I've been trying to phase myself out and then just continue to feed the trainers and really let them build their business. And then, I'm here for guidance or help if they need it. But just, trying to push everybody towards them. Phenomenal.
So obviously, from 220 when you bought it, you had that COVID thing.
Yeah.
You regroup. 222 kind of comes around. Of course, we met. You built your business from here on in. Like that's a pretty cool success story of just how you've been able to take being a non-gym owner, just kind of almost being a bodybuilder, trainer in a gym kind of guy.
Yep.
To now having a very profitable gym. That's really is, and having a great team, and it keeps growing. I think the capacity of your gym is membership wise is what, Jon?
I'm thinking, 1,300.
So you're getting close.
Yep. And, we're also looking at a new location, which would be able to hold way more people and just be, a night and day different in facility, and then add the outdoor side of it and just, make it way more, what's the word I'm looking for here? Just updated and better, just better.
I love that. So if we go back let's kind of go back and share a couple of things here. So number one, you mentioned about going into the chamber. Was it the Chamber of Commerce or the Senate?
Oh yeah, the Senate. I went up to the state capitol in Topeka, and went to I believe it was the Senate House Committee, but once we finally got shut down, when we did, we had mostly everybody kind of closed. We froze memberships. We had a few people that had called in and they're like, please don't freeze my membership. We want to support you during this time, which I was really thankful for. Several people in the community had, they wanted us to be able to stay open and not close after this. So, really thankful to all those people. And, even during that time, we still the personal trainers at that time was still training their clients, and we had a handful of people coming in and out. We basically would come in every morning and move a handful of equipment, dumbbells, certain machines outside, and we cleaned off the parking lot because they said you could exercise outside. So we used that loophole and we moved all that stuff outside, and we kept members coming and they could work out outside.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, Jon. So now let's kind of with one thing first. So if you think back to 222 to now, it's been about a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Give us one thing you've put in place or did to help increase your membership base, quite rapidly over that time?
Just working on the leads and, getting the face out there and being more proactive and reaching out to grow members instead of sitting back passively waiting for them to come in.
The golden 50. I love that. That's awesome, man. Yeah. I will say you're one of the most active executor guys that we probably, I say even in our whole term family, you really are one of those guys who executes and get things done. But I noticed you seem more laid back when you talk to you, but you're in behind, you're like this machine, this lion that executes. But I guess go over now from the team perspective, because you got 4 trainers, 5 including yourself, right?
Yeah. So we had one of our trainers was a carryover from the previous regime and how everything was. So we got her set up into the new style of how we do things. And then, there was all the trainers that we have been members of the gym, which have worked up to be trainers here at the gym now. There was a guy that we've had, he's been, consistent here ever since we opened. I had a good feeling on him. I approached him, asked if he had ever thought about training, and it took off from there. And, now he's going to be our lead trainer and, kind of take over the training department once we get him built up.
Is that Miss Ayel?
Yep, it is.
There you go. I love it.
Yep.
This is awesome. It's cool because I've noticed how much you obviously put into your team, right? And look to invest in your team, make them better, and give them a space to grow.
Oh, yeah.
Which you've done phenomenal with. And now they're growing, which is awesome. So now, of course, the P department has been growing every month progressively, and they're also fine tuning how to, be better with their leads, how to get better internally in the gym and all those things as well.
Yeah. And, 2 of the other coaches, actually one of the other coaches, she was a client of mine for probably a year and a half. And where was I at? I was somewhere out of town on the weekend, and she sends me a picture that she's a certified trainer. I was like, well, are you firing me? She's like, no, I just wanted to learn it for, my own knowledge. And then she was kind of nervous about starting. I'm like, no, I was like, you got this. And we got her first client. And then, before we knew it, she had 3, 4, 5 clients. Same way with Joseph. He wasn't a client, but, we got him in there. We got him comfortable. He got a client, and, she loves him. Every time I see her, she's thanking me for setting her up with him. And, one of the best advertisements you can get is word of mouth. She's brought him like 3 clients or so. And then his other clients have brought in more referrals. So, he just keeps steamrolling with that. He went from one to 2 clients a couple months ago. Now he's up to 8.
Really?
Yeah.
This is great. This is really good. So I noticed behind you, you have some great products, amazing products. So how important for you in your gym is having other sources of income beyond your trainers and your membership has been for you, is also with your, with your gym and so forth?
Truly important. I mean, that makes a huge part of our revenue. So when I took over managing the gym, and since I worked at John Deere for 10 years, I worked in sales. So I was to order outside parts, set the margins in there and do all that. So I'm familiar with ordering and sales and all that side of things. So even just our drinks, our water, being able to buy those in bulk and have them there at the front for people as they come in. And then moving into the supplements, I started using First Form back in 2015. Amazing products. I've been to a few of the conventions. I started out as a Legionnaire with the company. And then over the years, then I worked my way into being an authorized retailer. But when I took over the gym, I think we would do maybe 9,000 in POS sales for the year.
Okay.
And I believe last year we did 150,000.
That's a big difference, man. That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Wow. So is there more than those streams you have? Is it more like water, drinks, shakes, that kind of stuff, and also supplements?
Yeah. We do the supplements. We do energy drinks, waters. We also are set up with Muscle Egg.
Okay.
So we have that. We have Six Pack Fitness, the meal management bags. We do apparel, and we sell meals through Clean Eats.
Yep.
But First Form is definitely our biggest carrier. We got a huge display up front.
So guys, listening to this podcast, guys, take notes for gym owners or locations. What Jon, of course, has here. You almost sound like you've probably got 6-7 different streams of income, in your gym.
Yep. And then just this year, we started doing the making shakes and doing those, which has been a big hit.
Got it. Perfect. I love that. So good. Now, I guess when it comes to your philosophy around like, or even your around on fitness or on business, because of course most actually know this. I just learned this from you like 2-3 months ago. You also do real estate.
I do.
And you're kind of a machine there as well. So not that we have to make this about real estate, but what I find very impressive about you is how well you're able to like dial in, focus, execute, and also do other things over here very well as well, right? So what's kind of your mentality and philosophy around business in general, Jon?
I mean, a lot of people look at self-employment like, oh, I want to be self-employed so I can go out here and work 3 hours a day, or, have freedom to go do this and that, which I do have freedom to go do things, but I'm not working a couple hours a day. I mean, it's 12, 16 hours a day most of the time. I mean, there's a lot of grinding involved with it, but if you want something to be successful, you got to put in the time. If you're not busting ass that for 3 to 5 years to really build the business, and then you can back off a little bit, and put people in place to where they can run your business for you. It's tough if you don't put in the time. You got to be in there and grind.
Well, it's actually smart you mentioned that, because you mentioned how when you bought the gym, you had COVID hit. Now, of course, you've rebounded in powerful ways. You can obviously, of course, in the beginning years, it was a massive grind for you, right? You've put things into place. Now you have a team, including trainers, front staff, and now you're even taking hours out of the floor off. So you obviously have been putting people in place.
Yep. I believe, back when I started with TRM, at that point, we were just barely putting a manager in place. Because before that, I tried to do everything myself. And as you know, when you try to do everything yourself, you can't be very efficient at all those tasks. So it was a struggle at first to let some of those controls go and not be trying to do everything. But I've adapted into it over the last year. I got a really good manager in place that handles the front and the day-to-day operations. And then that gives me time to kind of manage the team of coaches. And then even then I've been, letting them kind of take the ropes of everything there.
It's almost like delegating and
Yep.
providing leadership to the internal team as well.
Yes. Yep.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. How important is it for you to also keep educating your team?
Very important. Even with myself, the podcast, what I've learned through TRM, reading books, and just constantly perfecting your craft and sharpening your sword, so constantly keeping them, because there's always going to be new things coming out there. So the more tools you have in your tool belt, the better prepared you can be.
What's actually kind of cool about you too, Jon, you mentioned this to me a couple months ago, is obviously, being in TRM is fantastic, which is great. But I also noticed you also invest in them and also their education on skills as coaches, like, like nutrition, training, hormones, all that kind of stuff, which is so important. And I find that's one of your definitely strengths, is, and why you probably grew so fast, is because you weren't just passively sitting in the corner, just like reading a book and then having a great day. It was like you were making your team better,
Yes.
but getting their business honed, getting your business honed, getting them skilled up on coaching skills. And dude, like, your coaches are awesome. Like, you're awesome, but that just kind of shows your diversity of how you've been able to manage that process.
Yeah, definitely. If I told them, here, go do this, and then just kind of let them go out there on their own rather than guiding them and helping them, step into and fill the shoes and do all that. It's, I'd be kind of shooting myself in the foot, because I'm just throwing them out to the wolves per se, but guiding them, giving them the tools that they need, and, being there if they need help.
Here's the big question for you, Jon. So what is your 5-year vision of Rapid Fit?
5-year vision, to be in the nice, bigger facility with the outdoor gym, 30% growth as well.
Okay, so 100. Perfect. Okay, yep. Excellent. 100% growth. I'm just bugging you, Jon. Yeah, so we're going to go. So you want a bigger facility,
yep.
Which of course right now you almost kind of got locked in there.
Yep.
Now, are you going to have the second location, or just you're going to have both, or just the one?
Just the one. Being in the smaller town, I definitely don't think we could substitute 2 locations. But, I've looked at other rural towns that we have in the area and looked at putting facilities in those as well. So, 5 years, have the bigger facility here, updated with everything, and then branch out to some other towns and have some other locations.
I hear a franchise here there.
Yeah.
A nice franchise. I love it. So as we kind of round this podcast down, I definitely would kind of hear, I'll kind of go back to one question I want to ask you at the beginning. I should forgot to ask you. So what made you want to buy a gym in the first place?
It wasn't even on my radar. I was training one morning and one of my friends, the owner, he's like, you got a minute? Let's go for a ride. And we went out and got in his truck to drive around the block. He's like, you ever thought about buying the place? I'm like, dude, I just went self-employed and quit my guaranteed money like 6 months ago. And he dropped the idea on me, and I kicked it around. And I mean, it went hand in hand. I was competing in bodybuilding at the time. I was training people. So, I mean, it just fit.
Interesting. So you were in fitness for how many years before you bought the gym?
I started competing in 2014.
Okay.
And then 2016, the gym opened. I came in, I was like in the first 7 people to buy a membership. And I didn't even know the owners at that time. And then we just grew into being really good friends. And they kept asking me every day. They're like, hey, do you want to be a trainer here? I was like, I'm just working out. And they kept asking. And then I finally broke down and I got the book and I ordered my nutrition certification. But it was more so just from my own personal knowledge. That way I could be better at bodybuilding. And then one day I came in, he's like, I got a client lined up for you over there. I'm like, oh man. So I just kind of got thrown into it. And I mean, I just took it and ran with it and built it into what we have today.
What's one piece of advice you got? It could be from a book, it could be from a course, it could be from anything that was probably one of the most influential pieces that you learned that helped you grow your business to where it is today?
Always continue educating yourself. Because if you get comfortable and let your foot off the gas, everything else is going to pass you.
Interesting. I like that. Cool. Last question for you as well. So with things, of course, where they are right now at the gym, you having a team in place, do you see yourself getting out of training entirely and just leading your team and then going to the new location, basically being a gym owner truly or not?
Right. Man, I kick that question around all the time, actually. My client load has actually decreased drastically over the last couple of years. And I probably work with about 6 people still, 7 people. But I do see over the next 3 to 5 years that might trickle down into none. And depending on how fast the real estate investments go and how well the gym goes. But I definitely think my team of trainers and my front desk staff and everybody could handle it if I do step away.
Well, so many gym owners probably face the same thing you're facing right now. They grow their business, they have a team, and they're facing the same thing. Like, do I keep training the clients, my 6 or 10 clients? But you just mentioned how maybe you want to look at other locations and other towns down the road, right? So I love that, man. That definitely is very powerful, very exciting. So any last words?
Just like I said, keep educating yourself and keep pushing forward.
I love it. So guys, you can follow Jon on, is it at Rapid Fit?
We have Rapid Fit Health Club. And then my personal page is Jon_Rapid Fit.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. And also your website as well? Same thing?
RapidFitHealthClub.com.
So if you guys want to learn more, basically like how you actually grow a gym or buy a gym, grow a gym in a small location of a town, Jon definitely would be an example to definitely, hear from, learn from, watch this podcast, maybe ask some questions. But what's intriguing about this, Jon, I appreciate you sharing this, is how your journey came from like being the grassroots, buying a gym, going through a traumatic challenge, turning it around, and now being like in a thriving state, which is awesome. So
Yep, definitely. Yeah, and if anybody has questions on anything, feel free to reach out.
Thanks, Jon. Awesome. Well, guys, listen to the podcast. Guys, if you want to definitely take a screenshot of this episode or follow us on Spotify or iTunes, definitely follow us at Trainer Multiplier. Other than that, guys, I want to wish you all a fantastic day. Thank you, Jon, for your time. We really appreciate you, buddy.
Glad to be on. Thank you, guys.